This will be my first video without the silly introduction. Congratulations! Thank you. Hi everyone. As I said in the last video, there's nothing more fun than beating a strong grandmaster. My opponent was Vincent Keymer, a super grandmaster from Germany and one of the most talented chess players in the world. We played game on lichess tournament, and the game we played was very interesting and fun. So let's jump to the game. Vincent started with knight to f3, I played knight to f6, c4, e6, d4, d5, knight 3, and c6, the so-called Slav defense, which was played by Anand, Carlsen, Kramnik, many world champions. After my opponent played bishop to g5, I didn't opt for h6, which is the main move, but I played bishop to e7 to try to confuse my opponent or myself. e3, opening the bishop and connecting the pawns, just normal developing moves. Castle, c takes d5, e takes d5, bishop d3, h6, bishop to h4, bishop g4, I'm pinning his queen, and queen to c2. And in this position we are almost out of the book. Only 100 games were played in this position. I played knight to b7, knight b to d7, and here my opponent opted for castling long, which is not that good move. As a Kasparov #1 fan, I of course went for attack and played b5, which is good move. King to b1, and here I could just wait and play rook to c8, but maybe I was pushing too hard, and here I played b4. Knight to e2, knight to e4, bishop takes e4, d takes e4, and this position black is already slightly better, like -1 according to computer. And now Vincent took the pawn, which was a blunder, because now I have an easy tactic. I took the knight, and if white takes the bishop on e7, I can take the queen on e4 with check. So he took the bishop with queen, but now I take the bishop on h4 and I'm a piece up. Queen takes c6. And they're saying in a chess there's nothing harder to win the winning position. And rook c8 was already going in that direction to not winning the winning position. Bishop f2 would have been better. But after rook c8, my opponent played queen f3, bishop f6, e4, knight to b6, e5, bishop to e7, knight to f4. My opponent is desperately watching for counterattack, and he's trying to attack my king. Bishop g5, knight to h5, queen d5, and I'm desperately trying to exchange pieces, and going into the end game would be winning because I have an extra piece. Queen to e2. It's already -0 advantage for black in this position, and I played b3, which is a strong move. A takes b3, queen takes b3, rook d3, trying to harass my queen, and maybe trying to transferring the rook to the queen side. sorry, king side. Queen b5, h4. And this is the genius of strong players. Even in totally lost position, they find a way to fight on. Bishop e7, and now knight takes g7, which is very good practical move. When you have nothing to lose, you have to sacrifice and try to put as much pressure as there is on your opponent. What happens if I take the knight? King takes g7, rook g3 check, king h7, and white picks up my queen. So I play knight to d5, queen f3, rook b8. I'm pressuring down this pawn on b2, rook d2, he defends it, and now I played bishop to a3, which is a logical move to attack b2 point, except that white could now take it. So this was tragicomedy of this game. But my opponent didn't, and instead he played knight to f5, king h8, and for the second time he could have taken the bishop, but instead wanted to mate me, and he played queen to h5. Rook b6, defending this h6 pawn, knight takes h6, and here the winning move would be to play bishop takes b2, because nothing happens after knight f7, king g8, white is out of attack. But instead of bishop takes b2, I played king to g7, knight f5 check, king g8, rook h3. And here there's only one move which draws, and you can see on the board, and this move is queen to f1. Why queen to f1? Let's see some of the lines. King a2, and now I have check with knight to b4. If king takes on a3, knight to c2, rook c2, and queen a1 is a mate. Okay, in this position, if blacks play queen to f1, rook d1, and now I can play queen to f2, I'm threatening the mate of b2, rook g3, I have to take, knight takes, and now rook takes b2 check. If king c1, there's the rook c8 mate, so he has to go on a1, and after knight to c3, there is no way white can prevent rook to a2 mate, so he has to go for perpetual, and that would have been the draw. Okay, let's go back to the game. Instead of queen f1, which was very computer move and very hard to find with 1 minute on the clock, I opted to rook to g6, and this was the third time white could take my bishop on a3, but he didn't. He played rook to g3, and now I went with queen to b6, and this was the fourth time white could took my bishop on a3, but he played queen to h6, and now the easy drawing move for me would be to take on g3, but instead I played queen to c7, rook takes g6, f takes g6, queen g6, king h8, queen h8, and here I thought that I couldn't play queen to h7 because white can take a rook on f8 with check, and I totally missed that bishop is protecting that rook. King to j8, we repeated, king to h8, and finally now I've spotted that I could play queen to h7, and yeah, here my opponent flagged, and I was a bit lucky and I won this game. So hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.